Hey, yo, welcome to the QB School Show. Fired up. We got all sorts of stuff to talk about. You know we're going Cam. We're talking July. We're talking what the QB School schedule looks like for July. We got all sorts of stuff to dig into. Fired up for this one. Let's get it going. You know the drill. You're in here in the chat. Hit me with your favorite emoji. Let me know it sounds good. Fired up that this thing is working. Got it locked in. Just so that I can then take a break and take all of July off. Is it working? It better be working, y'all. If this thing is, oh, there it is. Good. There you go. So this will be the last live through July. I will be putting out probably maybe 3 Patreon videos, probably 2 or 3. I'm comfortable saying 2 for sure, potentially 3. But just going to take a break from the YouTube thing just because nobody watches them in July. I mean, the numbers are ridiculously different. So we're going to take a break, recharge up, and be locked in, ready to go. So I definitely appreciate the support. Y'all hanging out with this one. Probably do a Cam one tomorrow. Cam, obviously, the name of the game. We'll be doing a Patreon one for this week, probably Drew Lock the following week for the Patreon group, just because they keep hammering me about trying to get more Drew Lock stuff, and I will finally offer one up, but we'll see. So fired up for a little break. Probably am going to Alejo, what's up? Probably am going to work on a new course in July. So if you have any ideas or preferences about what the next course is going to be, it's kind of in the works right now. So I would be surprised if I don't get to it in July, just because I'm going to have some time without making the videos. And had a lot of fun doing the course the first time, had a good time this first month, pumping up the course and having a lot of people get a chance to get enrolled. If you haven't, get over there, get signed up. If you want a big discount, I got no problem telling it to the 59 people watching right now. If you sign up for the Patreon group, you can get a 33% discount if you do it in June. Once the end of June comes, the 33% discount is no mas. So take advantage of that. If you want the discount for the course, again, I really had fun making the course. 6 hours of video content, 70 plus images, everything you ever wanted to know about RPO, and just kind of interested to see where the course game goes next. So if you have certain things you want to see course-wise, I don't know if it'll be quite as long as that RPO course moving forward, but it's definitely going to be in that realm a little bit. So I have fun doing it. It's a little bit like teaching, so I enjoy that part of it. Obviously, course, but whatever. All right, so let's get this thing going. We are probably going to talk a lot about Cam Newton. Somebody was asking me today when we talked about this. I don't remember. I want to say it was in a live stream. I could probably go back and watch the live streams if I really cared that much. But I know we talked about Cam Newton going to the Patriots on one of these live streams. And I'm pretty sure that yours truly said that would be a really good fit. Maybe, I'm pretty sure. I go back and get the actual video evidence. I should probably do that and post it somewhere. But I don't care that much. But I do think it is a great fit with certain parameters. Obviously, first, Cam has to be healthy. Jump, right? No, even if he can clear a trainer or clear a medical, doesn't necessarily mean he's healthy. So if he's healthy and he's locked in and they're on the revenge tour and he's coming for the throat, I love it. And I do on a number of different levels. I think Belichick, McDaniels are itching to be able to do something new. I think that they might have felt a little handicapped just with the mobility of Brady over this great run they've been on, that now they get to explore something different. And I just am excited to see what they come up with, because I trust that organization to be able to adapt to what their personnel can do. I think they've proven that they can do that better than anybody in the history of ball. And I'm fascinated to see how it works. At the same time, I will tell you that I just did the Patreon video for this week, which was watching a Cam Newton full game video. And last year, I don't know if he was not healthy at the start of the year. I really don't know. I didn't look into it. I can't imagine someone's not healthy week 1, though. You got to be pretty healthy week 1, or at least recovering from something. But he didn't look good. So whatever it is, shoulder, foot, if he's healthy, I don't think he's ever been like the most precision passer in the league, but what he is a freak out there among freaks, and just a big physical dominating presence, and can do things with the ball in his hand, running it, spinning it, making plays that just not very many other people can. And whether it's at the goal line running him or running him in certain situations, I just feel like it's going to present so many different weapons, and it just feels like the league is literally evolving, as you look at it, with Lamar Jackson and what the Ravens did with their offense, to now potentially what the Patriots are going to do with Cam Newton. And so it's going to be fascinating to see. I don't know. I just wouldn't bet against Bill Belichick and a pissed off Cam Newton. I just wouldn't. The guy was MVP like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I don't even know. Crazy. So let me know what y'all think, if I'm off my mind or what. But I feel like we got a chance here. Or not we, Patriots. I don't really care. But I think it's going to be. I think it'll be fascinating. Christian, you really want to talk about the Patriots cheating? Yeah, I think most people. I mean, I don't want to speak for Patriots fans. I'm not a Patriots fan, but I felt like this would have been a good deal in April. Now it's almost even a better deal now, because they're going to get him so cheap. I think it is bizarre that no one else in the league moved on him, when I thought that there were some other teams that probably could have used him. And I really think in Cam's situation, if I was his like buddy or agent, I would tell him, like, go into New England with an organization that's proven to take veteran guys and suck the marrow out of that last element of their career, seems like a pretty amazing fit. Like, where else would you want to go? Yeah, it's not going to be a resort. It's not going to be a vacation. But you're going to go out there and play some really sound, good ball and win a lot of games probably. And so I love it on so many different levels. I know people think it's like just a celebrity marriage, and there's too much, whatever. They care about how he dresses, or they care about this or that. I don't care anything about that. All I care about is how well he plays. And I think that New England can get the most out of what he can do. And if he's healthy, then it's got a chance to be really cool and really special. Now, if he's not, then obviously it's not going to work anywhere. But I'm just fired up for him. All right, what else we got here? Cam Jam, I know you got stuff going on here. Spellman, what you got? Does his form look like he relies too much on his arm and doesn't step all the way through? I will tell you, just watching the Patreon stuff that'll come out later in the week, his footwork, his lower half, whether he's hurt or whatever they're asking him to do in Carolina, to me was as sloppy as you'll see in the league. And what I mean by that is just inconsistent to have a strong, powerful base to be consistent to throw the ball. And it doesn't mean that he doesn't throw it hard sometimes and accurately. He does. He's an extremely gifted, athletic, dynamic dude that can get away with it sometimes. But throwing outside the numbers consistently with anticipation demands consistency. And you'll see in the game, if you're part of the Patreon community, that he misses a number of throws that I think most guys on Sundays, even backups on Sundays, will make when they're healthy. That's just my opinion. And so if it doesn't, then you're not going to be in the league very long. And so I get it that your body evolves, your game evolves, but at the same time, I think that if he got with guys who were a little bit more demanding of what his lower half looked like, he's always been a naturally great just flicker of the ball. I think he drives the ball as well as anybody. I think he's going to have some issues with touch down the field, but again, that's not necessarily been his game. His game has been, a little bit of play action, rip it over the middle, rip it. The other thing that jumps out of that film is just watching McCaffrey. That guy is ridiculous on so many different levels. All right. Hey-o. Yeah, Peter, what up, what up? I don't know.
Cheers!
We're going sparkling water tonight. Very fancy for y'all. Ryan the Raider coming in with traded or released. I feel like I have a video on being traded. I don't know if I necessarily want to talk about being released. It's not that great. I didn't know that, Spellman, about the Browns. No, I don't think Cam is interested in going to be a backup. That's just me. I don't think that was something he would be he'd be down for by any means. I don't know. No, that would be a great fit for Baker either, to be honest with you. Christian Smith, did you see DTR's reaction to your film breakdown on him? Yes, it was hilarious. I was actually mildly sweating it just because I totally forgot what I said, and I feel like normally I'm pretty honest. Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I could see people perceiving that if they didn't know me or if they didn't get it. But honestly, the one thing that I kind of relied upon is I just try to be as authentic as possible. Like, I really do. Like, this is the same way that I would talk to if I was coaching, if I was playing, if I was your teammate, if I was, it just allows me to be a little bit more at peace with it. So I wasn't that nervous, but I was mildly nervous because I remember that there were some throws and decisions that I was like, like, I feel like he could be a lot better than that. But he seemed like he was fine with it and had heard most of those things, which I would imagine he had heard most of those things. I just feel like at that level, the Power 5 level, a dynamic dude like that deserves to be coached hard and well and have really high expectations and just play better with his lower half. And I think he knows that. And even some of the release things, I think he had heard before as far as being long with it. You don't have to be a Albert Einstein of quarterbacks to be able to realize that you need to be consistent and can't drop the ball below your hip to be very good playing quarterback. And so those things are fun. It was cool to see. I think he's onto something that is probably a little bit broader of a question as far as, college athletes monetizing their value, their name, image, and likeness, which is obviously coming soon, if not already. And he's doing a nice job creating a little brand for himself with the YouTube thing. If you guys haven't checked it out, he's got a YouTube channel, I want to say 15, 20,000 subscribers, puts out some good quality videos. Obviously he's either a great editor or he's got some people doing it for him. But it was cool to see. I enjoyed it. The reaction element is cool. I like watching reaction videos anyways. And so it was fun, but I was definitely I had that initial surge of panic of 5 seconds where I was like, oh no, bro, what did I say? And it was just that awkward thing where you talk shit about somebody and now they hear you, but now it's on video. But luckily I was just myself and kind of kept it somewhat together. So very cool. If you get an opportunity, check it out. Yeah, Peter, I don't know how big to be honest with you, I don't know how big DTR is, but he made some throwing the ball that I thought was as good as anybody I've seen, just kind of run around plays and looking safeties off. And if he ever polished up his lower half, I think he's going to be really good. What up, Joe? Appreciate the hook it up.
Cheers.
Oh man, the Black Stallion. I got you. Missed the first vowel. We got some good questions coming in now. Let me quick. I love Phillip to Indy. I love Frank Wright. I love Phillip. I think he's got a chance to be really good with a really good offensive line. I'm fired up for him not to get hit all the time. How do you feel about Dak agreeing to take the contract? What he didn't sign a contract, did he? He just signed the tender. I feel like you have to sign the tender at that point. They got you kind of. Reptile, on average, while playing, how many hours a day were you studying football? Were there times when you took contrary action to study? In the off season, I wasn't studying football very often. Maybe if I was at a new team, I was learning the new offense, but I wasn't like doing meta studies of overarching football tendencies by any means. Coach Grays, how we doing? What factors would you consider in making a change at quarterback during a game or during the season? That's a good question. The way that I answer this is the way that I would answer for any position. I'm always going to try to put the best player out there that gives us the best chance to win. I can't imagine very often that changing mid-series or mid-game, but I could imagine potentially that doing that. If someone's hurt or nicked up or not at 100%. But my mindset at any position is whoever gives us the best chance to win is going to be the best 11 out there most consistently. And so that's what I preach, and that's hopefully what our players think that I promote as often as I can. Chase, what are check with me plays and how do they work? Good question, Chase. I could probably do a video on check with me plays. It's really not that complicated. Check with me basically means 2 plays. usually at least 2, can be 3 sometimes, and it's just they check with the quarterback. So you can either, there's a bunch of different ways you see people do it with alerts or kills or any code word to switch over. So check with me can be as simple as run to the right, run to the left, the same run. We want to run to whatever defensive technique, 3 technique, 1 technique, bubble, anything like that. And it depends on what the run is. And then it's just a glorified way to switch a play from one side to the other. It's really not that complicated at all. Cam, yeah, it was like a finalized thing. You just said it was reported. I shouldn't have said that. I don't remember. I honestly don't know. I haven't been watching the. Getting random text messages. Oh, good one, Peter. When are you getting your first guess? That would be super cool and hilarious. I probably need to do the guess thing. I'm just gonna like surprise it on y'all at one point. I'm sure. I'm not gonna like. Maybe I'll announce it. I don't know. Give me an idea of who y'all think would be a good guess for this, and I'll see if I can get that type of person to get through here because I'm fascinated. What else we got here? Wolverine coach. One of the biggest areas we struggle to find plays are the red zone, 6 to 10. What would you like in that area of the field specifically? Run it in, bro. Run it in. I love slants. I know a lot of people don't love fades, but we have an amazing fade guy. I like wheels. I like slant wheel. I like screens. I like fake screens. I like empty. I like running the quarterback. I like motion. I like bunch. Lots of good stuff down there. Anything that gets picks or rubs, if you're going to get 0, quick throws. I like running nakeds. Anything to get the quarterback on the edge with the potential to run it. All good stuff. Good question. Luke Ruff, last time I made it to the stream, I asked about your favorite uniform. So this time, would you say your least favorite uniform, excluding the super crazy ones college teams come up with? I think my least favorite uniform is the Tampa Bay orange one. I don't even know if they wear that anymore, but that's always my least favorite. Oh, could easily get, no, I don't know if I should easily get the RTP guys. I could probably get the RTP guys. I feel like they, I'm not sure that they're like camera guys. Has anyone seen them on camera? Maybe their like premium stuff is on camera, but I feel like they like the audio podcast. But that's a good call. That would be a good one. I could reach out to those guys, see if they'd be down for that. They're on a very tight schedule, man. Those guys pump out content. They do like 4 different podcasts a week. Oh, Just a Human, that's a good call. Bring on an old QB coach. Terry Bradshaw? Probably. I don't have a contact with Terry Bradshaw. Sorry. The Black Stallion. What do you think the toughest coverage to play against? Honestly, that's a tough one. I would say probably any drop 8, just because there's not going to be any space at all. I think one of the easiest to play against is 0 if you are sound. Now, if you're not sound, 0 is a nightmare. But I always didn't like playing against drop 8 odd fronts, and they can hit you from like Star Wars. You can't tell where they're coming from if they blitz. But 3 down linemen, drop 8, in a guaranteed pass situation is probably the hardest thing to play against, just because you can't force the ball. You're going to be outnumbered everywhere. Those type of things. Oh, I don't know, Adam. Michael, that would be a good one. I don't know if Adam. Adam can handle it. He'd be making fun of his eyes too much or something. Brett's probably a no. Dan, 4005. I definitely have tackled someone in the NFL. I threw quite a number of picks and fumbles, so I definitely know I can make some tackles. And when I mean tackles, I mean I chopped a dude down at his quad. It definitely wasn't like wrapping up, punching the ball out, or anything like that. Oregon prep evaluations with the all caps coming in, screaming. Caswell, if the Pats reached out for a QB coach, RPO heavy pitch, would you consider? Probably not. I mean, it would never happen, so it doesn't matter. But I'm not interested in coaching at that level, just because I have, and I know I've mentioned this on this channel before, but I think it's worth repeating just because it is important. in any line of business, right? Like if you're willing, it just is what your priorities are. So my priorities are being in one spot and enjoying, having youngsters grow up in the same spot, and we're in a good community. Those type of things feel really good here. Doesn't mean that I don't think it would be fun to be a coach at the highest level. That's what for the longest time I wanted to do, but I played at the level and moved around enough and know what it really looks like behind the curtain. And it's not as cool as most people think it is. Like, it just isn't. At the end of the day, you're just coaching football. Yes, you get paid well, but do you ever really enjoy it? Do you ever really get a chance to step away, or you're always potentially going to get fired or move on to the next job or lose your best member of your staff, or the turnover, that element of it? For me, it was exciting and fun when I was in the world, and it was worth it because I knew how condensed the career was. But once I saw the guys' families that were coaches and just the moving around, for me, it's not for me. And so to take like a 1-year sabbatical to go be a quarterback coach anywhere is not something that I'm looking to do. Plus, I really like the situation I'm in. Got a good group and building something down here in SD, so we're having fun with it. McCade, man, I need July is going to be a nice break. I'm going to come back to this stuff in August. I think the first one back will be August 3rd, a live stream. But I'm going to have to like relearn how to do this stuff. I feel like I got it locked in right now, but you lose it fast. Love all the members checking in. If you don't know, the members are the people in the chat that have the logo after their name. I used to pump it all the time, and I really do appreciate the support with that. Essentially, the longer you're a member, the membership little icon changes, but it's a really cool way to help support the channel if you're not interested in the Patreon or don't want to do the course. And it allows me to kind of pick out and grab your name when we're in these chats. So I don't want to feel like I'm only doing the members. It just pops up when my eye is drawn to them, especially the different color ones. All right, what else we got here? Yeah, Ryan, appreciate it. You also get really cool emojis that I make. Boom. You're welcome. I had so much fun with those like the first week. Oh, do me a favor, if you haven't already, smash that like, crank this thing up. I'm not very good about this in the live stream. I think it really helps alert people that we're going live. So do me a favor, if you haven't already, bang that like, and I appreciate it. Do you have a favorite D1 school? Christian Smith? No, I don't. Probably USD, which is the University of San Diego, just because I teach there adjunct wise. But it's FCS, and it plays in the Pioneer League, which is kind of like the Ivy League model as far as no athletic scholarships for football. So it's not really what most people would classify as D1 Power 5 football, although it is Division I, absolutely, and they're really good. Michael Penix, Indiana. I appreciate you telling me who it is. I have no idea who that is. I'm gonna have to see if I have Indiana film. I really do appreciate all the nudges, especially in the college game, because I know I've said this many times, but I do not know who every single person is that plays college football at the quarterback position. And so if you have people that you want me to look at, I'm always looking for ideas for videos. That if I have the video and enough people mention him or this player, I will do it eventually. I promise you. I am not. I do a pretty good job of trying to read through the comments just to get a kind of heartbeat on what's going on as far as what people want me to see. That's why I'm doing Cam this week. That's why I'm doing Drew Lock. And so I will get to it. But it's like when people come at me and are like, hey, do Ryan Smith. And I'm like, I don't know who that is. So Indiana, I got you. I don't know if I have Indiana film, but I can look to see if I can get some access to it. Favorite left-handed quarterback, Cam James, is absolutely Steve Young. There's no other way around it. Although I played against Mike Vick multiple times, and he was by far the fastest human being I've ever seen on the field. Now, he could miss some throws now that I'm telling you that looked like they were going in the third row, but it didn't matter because he was electric like no other. I'm telling you, never seen anything like it on a NFL field. And this is back in the day when it was on like legit carpet turf, not like field turf, like where it was so much faster on legit old school carpet turf. And he was just unbelievable on so many levels. I still kind of shudder when I think about him, like running to the pylon against us when I was playing in New Orleans. But unreal. But Steve Young, for sure, my favorite. Absolutely. Good question. Byron Leftwich. Yeah, it's kind of, Byron Leftwich is the coordinator in Tampa, right? Like, I didn't make that up. I know he was there last year, and I know he and Arians have some sort of relationship. They probably coach each other, or he probably played for him somewhere that I just don't know about. But I think it's fascinating. I thought it was fascinating, actually, when I was in New England on the practice squad. Tom Brady at the time was like, I don't know, so late 20s, mid 20s. And he was older than Josh McDaniels, or they're like the exact same age or something. And I thought it was weird then that I'm going to guess that Byron Leftwich is also younger. I don't think it's quite as big a deal anymore now that you're in your 40s. I don't think it really matters. I think that there's enough young guys in the league, Deshaun McVay's-ish, that it's not quite as big a deal to have someone younger than you as your coach. But I can remember thinking that was weird while I was in it. And so I'm sure Byron will do a good job. They kind of have their own. I'm fascinated to see what they do in Tampa, to be honest with you. I haven't watched enough back in the day film, but I know he's got the reputation for no risk it, no biscuit. I hope I didn't make that up. Something. They're going to chuck it down the field. See, there you go. Was Leftwich in Pittsburgh? You guys, it's weird to me. Yeah, all I remember about Byron Leftwich is just like his teammates carrying him. Was that Marshall? It was either Marshall or Jacksonville. His teammates like carrying him and playing on like a bad ankle. That was an amazing shot. That was cool. What else we got here? Oregon Prep. If you want me to answer I appreciate you being in the chat, but if you want me to answer your questions, you cannot come with the all caps, bro. I just can't read it. It gives me a headache. It's my own personal issue. I apologize if you're an all capper, but it ain't me. Good. Has anybody seen the movie Eurovision? I don't know why that just came up to me. I know I did, because I did the 2 thumbs up. The new Will Ferrell movie on Netflix with what's her name, Rachel McAdams. It's hilarious, mildly inappropriate, but it's got some funny, makes fun of Americans with the double thumbs up. Yeah, Marshall. See, Michael, you got it. Fractured leg. Yeah, you're right. Eurovision. I recommend it, though, as long as you want to laugh. It's not very serious. It's pretty funny. I liked it. Christian Smith, what offense did you run when you played in Europe? I would say this, the nicest way I can say it is a really, really super simple offense. You're in Tampa Bay, or I was in Tampa Bay for like less than a month. Never met these guys, coaches before. You put it in and you roll. It's pretty simple. Handful of protections, handful of simple runs, and a couple pass concepts. It's kind of like playing in like an all-star game. You got to put in really simple stuff, be a little bit limited, and go from there. It's definitely not the high-tech stuff. See, Oregon Prep, I got you, bro. You're back. Miles, I'm going into my freshman year, but I've never played tackle before, so what should I work on now and expect to see? Miles, what position are you trying to play? That would be the first thing. Other than that, I would just say be as coachable as you can be ready to play wherever your coach wants you to play, and do everything you can to have a good experience. Cam, are you talking about limit me as a player as far as the European offense, as far as like learning it? Miles, I would just get with your coach as quickly as you can and be as coachable as you can, soak up as much as you can, ask good questions, and just try to do the right thing and try to figure out exactly what they're asking you to do. There's no special sauce. It's just, you'll be all right. Freshman ball, everybody does it. Cam, I didn't feel like it limited me as a player going to Europe. I really needed it personally to go to Europe because I needed to play. At the time, I was the third quarterback and on the roster, and needed an opportunity to play to get better. And really, I think it did allow me to get better. People who play football, after 10 games, which is essentially a season, you're going to be a lot better than when you were at the start, even if you're a pro. That's why they talk about like the rookie wall, or rookies aren't really rookies in December, things like that. That's because you played a full season. So I thought it was a great advantage. And now I get what you're saying as far as the X's and O's of the offense being a hindrance, but really you have no choice just because you got all these strangers. Everybody comes with a different football IQ. Not everybody can walk in there and run a heavy volume, digit system type thing, where it's a lot easier to just go simple, get reps at it, get better, and know that you can go in and be successful in a game. And so that's what we did in Europe. Now, I got spoiled because I went to the same team in Europe a couple years apart, so I had a little bit of a better understanding of the offense the second time around. Obviously, it wasn't identical, but it was a lot of the same core principles. So again, those type of things matter when you're playing quarterback, trying to make decisions really fast. So all good. Oh, Alexander, favorite food spot in Frankfurt? Anywhere on the river. Man, I used to crush some Frankfurters, some, what was it called? Schnitzel, man, with a little like liter. The liter and the schnitzel. Those were good times. Spellman, I probably enjoyed Europe a little bit better than the CFL, just because I played in Europe and I didn't really play when I went to the CFL, which was a bummer. And so that's probably the main reason. Nothing against Canada. I loved Canada. It was in fact one of my favorite things about playing in the CFL was seeing Canada. I had been to British Columbia before. I'd never been to Calgary, Alberta, the East Coast, Montreal, those cities that I never think that I would probably go to, just because I'm a West Coast cat and like never going to get over to Toronto per se. But it was fun to see and experience, and the fans were great, but it was fun for me to play. I was always looking to play, and so that NFL Europe was always special in that regard. Hey-o, Maisha. Missed your boy today. If you could build a super wide receiver, what would be the top 3 qualities he would possess? Asking for a friend. That's a good question. I think you obviously have to have the athletic element of it to get a foot in the door, right? Like there is a certain element that I feel like people get twisted, especially when you start talking about the higher levels of football, that if you don't check these certain boxes, it's going to be really hard to both get recruited, play in the league. It's a little bit different if there are as far as height requirements nowadays, but like just size requirements. Whether if you're a big guy, it's so much easier. If you're a smaller guy, you got to be that much more dynamic. I think like Tyreek Hill type of thing. It's just those guys are so fast and so dynamic on the perimeter that it's just hard to replicate. And I get it. It's frustrating. Everybody wants to get recruited. Everybody thinks that they're a D1 type player, but it's literally athletic freaks. And so you compound that with guys that are healthy, getting bigger. I think that a lot of things people look for, especially in younger players, as far as like, what do they project out as? So if someone has a great sophomore year, do they make the jump junior year to be even better? There's a big jump between being a good sophomore player on a varsity team and being a nationally recruited junior player, because that's really when it happens. It doesn't magically happen your senior year. You don't all of a sudden become, hey, this guy's on the national stage. There's a big jump, and it goes, for me, it's not necessarily 3 intangibles. It's these things that are eye-popping on the film. So like explode off the film. So whether it's explosiveness, whether it's top-end speed, whether it's, dynamic ball secure or ball hand-eye coordination, catching radius, things like that are just mind-blowing off the screen. I think those are the things that jump people to the Power 5 level. I think that there's a lot of really good high school football players. There just are. And so it's frustrating, and I know people feel like they're, being slept on or whatever. But for me, if you're a guy who's a young player in high school and you are already making eye-popping plays, you just got to keep me in you and hope that you're in a system that allows you to flourish and allows you to stay healthy, do the right things off the field, and you just keep me in you, and you look for that continuous improvement where, junior year is even better. Senior year, you're leading the the area, the country, in your little niche. And so that's what I'm looking for: consistency, playmaking ability, athleticism, explosiveness, all of those like buzzword things. But for me, at the end of the day, you're looking for stuff that just pops off the film. Michael, hands, routes, and toughness. That's what you're looking for in a wide receiver? Get that at the Turkey Bowl. No, we need like there. For me, that I joke around a little bit. I joke, but I'm serious. It's hard to grasp how fast you have to be to play at those levels. There are, and I know Coach Gray knows this. Coach Gray knows this. The measurables matter. Football IQ, yes. Reliable hands, yep. Catching radius, absolutely. But if you can't run fast enough, you simply are not going to be able to play on the perimeter in the NFL. And I mean offense, defense. There's just very few guys you're going to get in the door. And so it's hard quite to understand. You go back and look at guys who play wide receiver in the league and go look at their high school 100-meter times. And then you look around and realize that, some of these guys aren't running track, that think that they're going to get recruited at the Power 5 level. It's just hard. It really is. It's just hard. And I get it. It's just, that's what they're talking about when they say speed of the game. That's what it is. Everybody is fast. Everybody runs sub 10. That's what it is. Alvarado, you have to go back and check out the earlier part of the stream. What is the worst trait an offensive coordinator can have in a game, in your opinion? Shane, oh man, there's a lot of worst traits. I think the worst trait, personally, that bugged me for offensive coordinators, and by offensive coordinator, I'm going to guess that you're talking about play caller, is getting the play in late. Like that is like one of my massive football pet peeves is, especially if you're a team that huddles and you get the play in late, and especially in college or high school or the league where you have a play clock. I know everybody has a play clock, but a play clock that you can see the digital countdown and it's at like 15 and they haven't given you the play. Like, I don't understand it. And so I get it. There's, depending on the offense you're in, high volume, those type of things. But for me, that was the biggest one. The other obvious ones that I think matter are, it's really tough to play for a coordinator who only runs the ball, play quarterback specifically. If you run the ball so much on first and second down, and then they're like, okay, go get us a first down. And like all you're ever doing is throwing for first downs or trying to get first downs on third down throws. Really tough. So those are two that jump off to me. The other one that I would say, and I saw this today because I did the cam film for the Patreon community, is coordinators or play callers that have somebody get the ball all the way down the field, like whether it's a wide receiver, running back, quarterback, and then they hand the ball to like another player at the end zone, at the goal line. That used to piss me off. Like if someone gets like 3 receptions, big play, then they get down to the goal line and they run it. Or like if the tailbacks run it all the way down, they get down and then they hand it to the fullback or they throw it to the wide receiver. Like just let the guy get the touchdown. I don't know if it's like varsity blues in me or what, but that always drives me crazy. Crazy. All right. Cam, I don't know, man. You gotta see like a nutritionist. That's out my game. All right, Joe, what you got? Have you ever talked about playing at Candlestick? It had to be an absolute nightmare throwing there in the wind. I hated just sitting in the stands. I don't know if I have talked about playing in Candlestick on the stream. It was multiple things for me, right? Like obviously a NorCal kid playing for the Niners was really cool. Playing at Candlestick was really cool. But I've never been to a game where I was so uncomfortable than a preseason August late Candlestick game. I mean, the coldest, windiest, thickest like atmosphere, just disgusting. And the reason why I think it was so bad was because you just don't expect it. Like I don't expect it. I get it that it is like that. Summers in the city, but like when you're not living there all the time, I didn't grow up in the Bay Area. even when you're with the Niners, you're really in Santa Clara, or I was, when they were playing at the Stick. And so you don't really get the Bay vibe, but it is just so windy and terrible. And for some reason, man, I just remember this preseason game in Candlestick that just, I was like, because I didn't have sleeves, I didn't have a jacket, I didn't have gloves, I didn't have a hand warmer. Like, it's August, but it was crazy and it just cutting wind. But yeah, it was still really cool. I still enjoyed going to the Stick all the time. That's where I first ever saw my first ever football game. So all good. All right, we're wrapping this thing up. We're wrapping this thing up all the way through August. So I'm pretty excited. I really do appreciate y'all hanging out. We got over 100 in here. Hit some good ones with a little cam action. I'm fired up for the cam thing. I know we talked about this many times on this channel. I think it'll be good. What else we got? Oh yeah, right into this. I went with a little soda water tonight just because I didn't think. I think I'm probably going to have a glass of red wine after this, and don't think like red wine, red teeth necessarily go together on YouTube. So I appreciate y'all hanging out. Other than that, y'all have a wonderful July. Please stay safe. Please wear a mask. Yo, I thought about actually doing this whole stream in a mask. I probably should have. Wear a mask, man. I'm trying to have fall sports. Trying to have sports soon. So do your thing. And again, I appreciate y'all hanging out. Thanks so much. And I will see you in August. Later.